Welcome to my vlog. I'm your host Ahnaf, and today we will be discussing whether or not Canadian hate speech laws should be maintained, strengthened, or eliminated altogether. I contend that Canadian hate speech laws should be strengthened in order to protect Canadian citizens from any potential hate crimes that may occur as a result of historical or societal prejudice. I had the opportunity to speak to an expert that specializes in hate crime, and I was amazed by the myriad of perspectives one can take when approaching this issue. I have learned a lot from this experience, and I would like to gracefully introduce Mr. Royce Puya. Mr. Puya was a victim of hate crime during the devastating events of 9/11, and he has been fighting to bring peace to society for 20 years through the World Without Hate movement. As a result of his efforts, he has received a plethora of accolades, which include the 2014 Human Relations Award, the 2014 American Heritage Award, among others. Now, let us hear from the expert himself, Mr. Royce Puya.
My name is Royce Puya, founder of World Without Hate. Immediately after the 9/11 terror attacks, the US and Western media, public officials, people with power, and self-proclaimed security analysts seemingly entered into a competition, spreading fear, misinformation, intolerance, hate, and violence against people perceived Muslim or Middle Eastern. All this done under the guise of freedom of speech, safety, security, and justification for the war on terror. Tragically, I paid the ultimate consequence. 10 days after 9/11, a white supremacist shot me in the face because of my race and perceived faith. Though having laws to safeguard me and all individuals from hateful speech and acts is crucial, it is equally imperative to first clearly define hate speech in legal terms. This involves establishing specific criteria that distinguish it from protected speech, with regular revisions to prevent it from becoming a tool to suppress voices or to favor one group over another. As society progresses, it is vital to acknowledge that what may be legal today may need to be revised in the future. And in such instances, we must be open and honest about changing laws to enhance their strength. Ultimately, the law must be fair and just for all people, not simply to favor specific groups. It's essential to recognize that while laws are instrumental in ensuring safety, security, and human rights, they cannot compel individuals to love or respect one another. To address this, educational programs at schools and in communities should be implemented to raise awareness about the impact of hate speech. These programs should actively promote understanding, acceptance, and empathy to stop the growth of hate at its roots.
Thank you, Mr. Puya, for your insight on this topic. Hate speech laws in Canada have glossed over the effects of hate crime as a whole. As it stands, Canadian hate speech laws are making little to no effort in maintaining a safe space for Canadians regardless of their background. Canada prides itself in being a multicultural country that welcomes anyone. Stronger hate speech laws, however, can ensure that further instances of hate speech can be prevented before they become a serious threat to society. To prove my point, I will utilize three ideologies that will provide an alternate perspective on hate and the possible ramifications it has on affected groups. As stated in Will Kimlicka's paper, Multicultural Selections, every individual has two types of rights put in place: internal restrictions and external protections. Just as a refresher, internal restrictions concern the rights of the group in question, whereas external protections involve the rights of the group in question against those of the society. Hate speech, however, disregards the notion of protections against racial-based prejudice. I argue that by strengthening these laws, we are one step closer to a society where people of all backgrounds can coexist in harmony. Hate speech from the feminist perspective can be seen as an equivalent to domination by the patriarchal society, thinking that they are superior to their female counterparts. Lastly, religion also plays an integral role in hate speech related crimes. Similar to critical race theory, hate speech from the communitarian perspective not only affects an individual that align themselves according to race or gender, but ultimately the community as a whole. Individuals who belong to certain religious groups are severely prone to hate speech. For instance, after 9/11, Muslims became the intended target for hate speech because of their supposed affiliation with terrorist groups such as Al-Qaeda. By enhancing the strength of these laws, we are one step closer to a society that is centered around peace and love rather than anger and hate. Thank you for listening to this episode of my vlog. I'm Ahnaf Kareem, signing off.